Welcome back, class. This video will serve as a demonstration for the art tasks you need to complete for lesson 1. Now, just as a reminder, each unit is broken down into 3 separate units to basically chunk or shorten the steps of the lesson one by one to make it easiest for you to complete everything one step at a time. Because again, your success is my main priority to make sure that you all do well. So that is why it's designed this way. So with that said, for lesson 1, to make things easy as possible, your only task for this lesson is to complete one drawing of your assigned squares. Now, if you're looking at this and you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're thinking, Mr. Gillock, what assigned squares? Please check your Schoology email. I should at this point already have emailed out images of different squares that you were responsible for drawing or transferring to a sheet of square white paper that was assigned to you in your art bag that you picked up from school. So please make sure you check that email. Again, it is your Schoology email. If you did not receive that email, excuse me, if you did not receive that email with your squares, please let me know, and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about in just a second here. All right, so this next slide here represents what basically the dimensions of the artwork that was selected for you. Because we're doing this virtually, you are all collaborating on this work in the sense that you are each creating a different section, and at the end of the unit we're going to put it all together to see what you created as a group. Individually you'll have no idea what you're creating, but together you'll see a really cool image. But with that said, you're not able to really share so much your ideas, but you're at least able to share your different talents, and we're going to pull everything together in the end. So here you have 20 squares. Your artwork is 20 squares large. So you may have been assigned a 4, B1, or and D3. Again, you should have received 2 squares or more depending on your class size. But you are responsible for completing all squares that were sent to you. Ultimately, just to kind of fast forward to the end, you're going to be drawing each square, line drawing each square, and then after the fact you'll be adding color to each square to not just match the placement of each shape and subject, but also match the colors so it is as much of an exact match of the original image as possible. And then we'll take everyone's squares and put them together. So you're responsible for doing all of those. I don't know what's happening to my screen here. All right, so let me hide those so you all know that you've been assigned different squares for a much larger project. Takes me a minute to get to where I need to go. Oops. Why did that happen? Sorry, guys. All right, so moving on. This is an example of how to take your original square and how to transfer that into your blank square. In the end, your square will look something like this. It'll be a line drawing of the other square, the original square, to match it as closely as you can. Now, what I'm going to be teaching you how to do is how to make sure each line intersects or begins and ends in the right place of the square. That is the most important thing, is to make sure everything is placed properly and begins and ends where it's supposed to. So, with that said, let me grab my stylus here and make sure I'm doing this properly here. Sorry guys, give me 1 minute. All right, so what we're going to be doing is adding something called tick marks. So you're going to want your original square in front of you, either on your computer or printed out, and then you're going to want to take that square, the blank square that you're drawing on, and you're going to look at, for example, this woman's hat right here. This woman's hat is not in the middle, right? It's not off to the right. It is not all the way to the left. It is over to the left about this far. So what you want to do is try to match where that woman's hat hits with a light line. And by the way, use a black pencil. I'm using red just to make this demonstration clear. You should not be using a red marker or paint or anything like that. Please just use black pencil. But I'm marking where her hat begins. I'm now looking at where her jaw is there. It's important to make these marks before you just start going and drawing, because you don't want to draw this awesome image, but everything's shifted too high or too low or too far to the side. You want to know where everything begins and ends. And once you know where everything begins and ends, I'm going to zoom in a bit, I can now start drawing her jawline. I can now start drawing her ear, her like her sideburns, her hair here, and her hat. I am not going to sit here and draw the whole thing in front of you. I'm just demonstrating how drawing these tick marks and these measurements are going to help you draw this accurately. So I grade you, I am looking for the placement of your objects to be accurate. Alright, so there's her head. I can draw some more. Her arm is about here. And you know what? I think I made that a little too short. The distance from here to here looks a lot shorter than here to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that. Just going to double check. So it looks her arm is like right here. So that I think is more where arm begins and ends. Here's the edge of the table here, right here. This gentleman's arm is near the edge of the table. So you want to be constantly looking at these different areas and comparing each line to another. When drawing from something, from an image, or drawing from something in life in front of you, you always want to be relating to one line to another, one space to another, and how everything kind of interconnects and relates to the other. So here I'm working on her shoulder based on my lines here. I can see his hat. His hat hits at kind of the mid-back. So this is her shoulder, and her back comes down here. You can see his hat hitting here. Even the top of the hat is important. I don't just want to go and draw the top of his hat here. I first want to know where that hat's going to land. And if this is your square, you're kind of getting a step-by-step guide as you complete your specific square, but this technique works for all squares. Here's the other guy's arm here. The arm ends at the top of the hat right here. You guys can kind of see how this is all coming together. I'm not going to, again, do everything, every little detail, but once you're all said and done, if I hide this, once you're all said and done, your image should look something like this. You'll have every line, every detail in there, so that the last step that you need to do is basically just to add the color, which is going to come in another lesson. But for the end of this lesson, you just need to complete one of these squares and send them to me. Send me an image of the square that you've drawn, finished, like the drawing is finished, and the original. So I should have, just like the screen shows, the blanks, your drawn square and the original, so I can compare and contrast, and I can say, hey, you did a great job, with this, but I think you might need to fix the positioning of the gentleman's hat or the arm. This way I can help guide your progress, and we can work together, we can collaborate to make sure that you are creating the best artwork possible, and that this project is as effective as we want it to be. So that is it for the demonstration for lesson 1. Just make sure you submit a photo of your one drawn square with the original that you're copying from that you can find in your Schoology email. Send that under the lesson production discussion in Schoology, and I will respond within 24 hours. And also feel free to respond to one another and give some feedback. It's not required, but it's always nice and helpful to learn how to talk about art, how to view art, and how to share your knowledge with others. All right, so at the end of this video, please start beginning your drawing, and I look forward to seeing your photos in Schoology to see how you started. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.